And so many of you might have heard of this blue zone. And so recent research on blue zone populations has significantly impacted our understanding of nutrition and life expectancy. And this is the author who has written books, and I think the Netflix documentary on blue zones also has been produced by him. And blue zones basically are regions by exceptional longevity and well-being, and they have been studied extensively by a group of respected nutritionists and scientists who are dedicated to this research. And when we look at this area of blue zones, they are initially defined as 5 distinct locations worldwide, and it offers insight into longevity far beyond what is typical in other geographic regions. And we can find them even in America, in Loma Linda, where there's this community with the highest concentration of Seventh-day Adventists, where some of the residents live 10 years, 10 more healthy years compared to an average American. You can also find them in Greece, and this is a place where it has the world's lowest rates of middle-age mortality and the lowest rates of dementia. Same thing in Icaria, Greece. In Sardinia, Italy, it's this mountainous highlands that has the world's highest concentration of centenarian men. Okinawa in Japan is home to the world's longest lived women. And also in Costa Rica, the residents over here have the lowest rates of middle-aged mortality and the second highest concentration of male centenarians. And it's very, very different from like a region in Monaco in Europe, where it's known for its extreme wealth and advanced healthcare and boasts high life expectancies during 90 years on average. However, the factors contributing to the longevity in these blue zone areas differ really very, very significantly of that of Monaco. While wealth and access to quality healthcare can play significant roles in Monaco's longevity, other blue zones exhibit exceptional longevity despite not sharing the same level of economic prosperity or healthcare infrastructure. And so this suggests that longevity observed in traditional blue zones may stem from a combination of unique environmental, social, and behavioral factors than solely relying on wealth and or access to healthcare. So if we examine this Venn diagram, it highlights the significant factors shared among the populations of Loma Linda, Sardinia, and also Okinawa. And these factors contribute to their exceptional health and longevity. First, family plays a very central and crucial role in these communities, fostering strong social bonds and support systems. Additionally, they adhere to a heavy plant-based diet, avoiding smoking, and prioritizing physical activity throughout their lives. Social engagement is also a key aspect, with residents actively participating in social activities such as chess games with neighbors, which keeps them mentally and physically active. Moreover, their protein sources primarily come from beans and legumes, emphasizing plant-based nutrition. If we look at Sardinia and Loma Linda, they share a focus on whole grains and maintain that cultural isolation, preserving traditional dietary practices and preventing assimilation into modern dietary habits. On the other hand, Okinawa and Loma Linda both consume a high soy diet and prioritize faith, abstaining from alcohol, and despite cultural differences, there are similarities in dietary patterns and religious practices that unite these people. And among Sardinia and Okinawa, the women are empowered and engaged in gardening as a meaningful activity, reflecting their connection to nature and community. And in analyzing the nutritional and behavioral aspects that unite these populations, researchers have identified 9 key factors that contribute to their exceptional health as well as their longevity. And this includes aspects such as diet, social engagement, and also physical activity and cultural practices. And collectively, this is known as the power of 9. And so these are just some of the what the power of nine entails, and we'll go through this in a little bit more detail. So we know that centenarians are basically people who are above 100 years old. And so if you aspire to reach that remarkable age of 100 years old, you're kind of venturing into what is known as the blue zone. And in these areas, there are a lot of people who are above 100 or even, age 90 and above. And contrary to popular belief, achieving longevity doesn't require intense athletic training. Instead, adopting a few simple lifestyle principles can pave the way. So one thing that they do over there is move naturally, engaging in regular physical activity, not necessarily high intensity workouts, but activities that involve natural movement like walking, gardening, or dancing. They find a purpose and they cultivate that sense of purpose and meaning in their life, whether through work, hobbies, volunteering, or other meaningful activities. And so the Okinawa, they call it ikigai, and the Nikoyans, they call it plan de vida. They also look at reducing stress, incorporating stress reducing practices such as prayer, meditation, or even a restorative nap into the daily routine to promote mental and emotional well-being. Following that 80% rule, where they practice mindful eating and they stop eating when they're 80% full, leaving a little room more if necessary, but kind of avoiding overeating. And they also emphasize this plant-based food, consuming this predominantly plant-based diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes with minimal processed foods and meat. There's also some alcohol involved, moderate but regular consumption of wine. While some blue zones populations like the Loma Linda may abstain from alcohol, there are others that cannot enjoy moderate consumption. And it just kind of creates that strong sense of community and belonging. And also, they cultivate strong family ties, prioritizing close-knit family relationships to maintain that strong social connections with loved ones and fostering a sense of belonging and support. Also, they're part of a faith-based community, whether or not it's Judeo-Christian or being Buddhist, but being part of this faith-based community provides social support and a sense of purpose and a framework for ethical living. And also there's this right tribe, which recognizes the influence of environmental factors and chance in longevity, acknowledging the importance of being born into supportive communities and environments conducive to be healthy and also have a better overall well-being. And for example, in Okinawa, they have created Moyas, which is a group of 5 friends that are committed to each other for life. And so when talking about living to about 100 years old, it's a lot, and going back to what we learned in the first chapter, is this whole entire principle of this eating food, not too much, and mostly plant-based. Some like what Michael Pollan has been advocating. So choosing natural and unprocessed options like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. Practice moderation, be mindful of portion sizes to prevent overeating and to maintain a healthy weight, and prioritizing plants such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, and seeds, and whole grains, not only for health benefits, but also for environmental sustainability. So how can you build your own blue zone? And creating your own blue zone really just boil down to making simple yet impactful changes to your lifestyle and dietary habits. And a lot of researchers have come in agreement that there's this concept of a foundational diet, which is, again, more whole foods and vegetables, less refined grain and added sugar. And we can all agree that the standard American diet really fails in all this emphasizing these whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and also less refined grains and added sugar. So if you actually put all of this together, a lot of researchers believe that 75% of all the nutritional issues and diet and lifestyle diseases can actually be completely removed from being a huge problem in America. And so what are some of the food choices for longevity? And again, it's kind of opting for a predominantly plant-based diet. And it's not asking people to become vegetarian or vegans because there are some people who do really badly being a vegetarian or on a vegan diet. And if you look at the Mexico Dietary Guidelines, which was released late last year, it also emphasized that 95% of your food should come from plant-based sources. In terms of carbohydrate, focusing on healthy carbs such as beans, greens and vegetables, potatoes, fruits, whole grains, nuts, and minimizing that highly processed and refined carbohydrates such as sweets, chips, and soda. For fats, on the other hand, we want to prioritize healthy fats found in nuts while reducing the intake of saturated fats from meat and eliminating trans fat entirely. And protein is to incorporate more plant-based protein sources like tofu, green green leafy vegetables, beans, while reducing the consumption of meat, fish, and dairy products. But again, kind of remembering that sometimes people talk that beans have lectins, but we need to get over the fact that that's not bad. Fruits have sugar in it. It's part of the fruit matrix, and it comes together with fiber. And then some people might say nuts are bad, but it's unsaturated, so it's really not a big deal. And if talking about dairy, on the other hand, you want plain yogurt, not low-fat yogurt that has pineapple or raspberry flavor, that just has as much sugar that you might find in your soda. So just having plain yogurt. And so here are just some of the foods that are typically very, very common that you can find in the Blue Zone diet. And you can actually go through this yourself. And so this is just some of the blue zone beverage rules. And what we notice is that in many of these blue zones, they do enjoy coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, and a moderate amount of wine at 5 p.m. And both with coffee, tea, and also with wine, they have very, very rich in antioxidants. And we know that aging is actually an oxidation and oxidative process. So these antioxidants provide a very, very beneficial benefit as it helps to slow down aging and also many chronic diseases. But it's also very important to note that you have to stay hydrated with water throughout the day and avoid sugary drinks and diet sodas. But we also know that in some blue zones, they do not actually consume alcohol, like in Loma Linda. Water we know is very, very important for promoting blood flow and reducing the risk of blood clot. So you want to avoid that artificially sweetened beverage and just drink plain water. Coffee, it shows that moderate consumption of coffee can bring down significant rates of dementia and also Parkinson disease. So it's good to add that into your morning routine. Green tea particularly has that antioxidants, which has been associated with reducing the risk of heart disease and certain types of cancer. Red wine and moderate consumption has been linked to longevity because of these antioxidant properties. But again, it's important to note that or if you don't drink alcohol, you don't need to just consume that for health purposes, because the red wine, especially resveratrol, can be found by just consuming red grapes. So if we look at some of the key features of this Blue Zone diet in all these five different population groups, we notice that there's a huge emphasis on whole wheat, 100% whole wheat bread, and we know that that's higher in fiber and also higher in a lot of nutrients. We also know that beans is really much a big predominant part of their diet, and beans are just really cheap, versatile, full of antioxidants, vitamins, and fibers. Nuts, on the other hand, a lot of nutrients, and sometimes people have said that nuts are really fattening, but the types of fat that you find in nuts is unsaturated, so it's really not a big deal. And we know that, especially when it comes to nuts, it is packed with healthy fats, it helps to satisfy hunger, and it also provides essential nutrients. And fruits, just buying a fruit bowl or placing it in the middle of the kitchen, having it as a snack. And people will say fruits have a lot of sugar, but it's not added sugar, it's natural occurring sugars, and it's present together with fiber, and it comes as part of the food matrix. So it's not a bad thing. it's going to help to prevent the blood sugar spikes. Another thing that I can talk about over here, which is yogurt. Um, a lot we see, especially when it comes to yogurt, the emphasis on low-fat yogurt. But that again is highly processed. So if you want to consume yogurt, do opt for plain yogurt, not low-fat yogurt that has pineapple or raspberry flavor. That has just as much sugar as soda. Some of the four things to avoid is that sugar sweetened beverages. And we know for a fact that we learned this in carbohydrate that they just provide empty calories and huge amounts of added sugars that come together with sodas and in box juices. A lot of the salty snacks, potato chips, crackers, have just high amounts of sodium, high amounts of preservatives, and really very highly processed grains that can cause the blood sugar spikes. Similarly, together with the packaged sweets that we can find in granola bars, cookies, candies. I was even surprised to find that bread that's being made in here in America has just high amounts of sugar, where you do not need sugar in bread. And all of this kind of causes that blood sugar spike. It's okay to have it in moderation, but you do not want to overdo it. The same thing with processed meat, especially when you're talking about sausages, bacon, luncheon meat. All of this really, there's a very strong association with cancer because these preservatives, particularly nitrates that are found in this meat, are known to be carcinogenic. So we want to avoid some of these food items. And to just kind of look into what can you do to maximize health span as we kind of like summarize everything that we have learned is to limit overnutrition, consume fruits, vegetables, colorful foods, also whole grains to get the optimal vitamin and intake of vitamin and minerals. We also know that you have to keep your mind engaged and also exercise is really very, very important. And all of this can actually help with preventing cardiovascular disease, neuromuscular, and also help to improve immune function so that it can be resistant to diseases. And we want to limit that big five lifestyle risk factors. So try to be as active as possible, consume less food that is really high in sodium to prevent hypertension, food that's high in added sugars to prevent obesity, diabetes, and also do not smoke. And we talked about this, how lifestyle, genetics, and the environment does play a significant role in healthy aging. Genetics can predispose individuals to certain health conditions, but lifestyle choices such as diet, exercise, stress management can greatly influence how the genes are expressed. And environmental factors like pollution, access to healthcare, and socioeconomic status also impact overall health and aging. And so making healthy lifestyle choices and minimizing exposure to harmful environments can promote better aging outcomes. As we wrap up this food and nutrition class, I want to leave you with a final note. Understanding the fundamentals of food and nutrition is not just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about cultivating a lifelong relationship with what sustains us. As we looked into the complexities of macronutrients, micronutrients, dietary patterns, and their impact on health, I hope that you have gained a deeper appreciation for the role food plays in our lives. Remember that the knowledge you have acquired here isn't just confined to the walls of the classroom or just to your laptops. It's a toolkit that you can use to make informed choices about your own health and well-being, as well as to advocate for positive changes in your communities. And so whether or not you're going to pursue a career in nutrition or you are an athlete or whether or not you're just seeking to lead a healthier lifestyle, continue to approach food with curiosity, respect, and having an open mind. And kind of staying engaged with ongoing research and development in the field, and don't hesitate to seek out credible sources of information. And like I mentioned, that nutrition is a really young science. So a lot of the evidence that we've gotten like maybe 20, 30, 50 years ago might not be relevant today. So it's always good to stay updated. And in food and nutrition, remember that balance, variety, and moderation are key. So embrace the diversity of foods that are available to you and savor each meal as an opportunity to nourish your body. And that's what a lot of nutritional researchers are working together with chefs, because if you want to get people to change their diets, you need to make food that is actually tasty so that people are willing to try. And above all, never underestimate the power of food to connect us. whether or not to our cultures, to each other, and to the planet. Because a lot of the decisions that we make, particularly in food consumption, has impacts on the environment. We know that, especially with animal farming, the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, the amount of carbon emissions, and how does that relate to climate change, topsoil erosion. We know that water tables are dropping worldwide. And so, how we can also eat sustainably for our planet, and that's really important. So thank you for your participation and dedication in this course, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and also for the final exam. And may your part be filled with health, happiness, and also delicious discoveries.